I was planning on doing a card review today because Hearthstone revealed a card today, Relic Vault. The next relic you play this turn casts twice. But what the heck is a relic? They didn't reveal relics. We don't know what a relic is. They did say, want to know more about relics? Tune in on Wednesday, July 13th. That's 5 days before we learn what a relic is. Pheno apparently is going to reveal a relic. But we do have some clues on what relics are going to be already based on this, and I wanted to talk through some of them. So this is a location card. It's 3 mana, 2 durability. It's for Demon Hunter. That's the Demon Hunter colors there, as you'll see. There's a pretty good evidence that Demon Hunters are getting a new cycle of cards, so that's like a small subset of cards that are going to be relics. Kind of like, what's a good example? Sort of like glyphs, actually, for Demon Hunters. Demon Hunters also had the glyph cycle, a handful of cards that were all a thing that did their own kind of thing. Relics are going to be like that, it seems, for Demon Hunters. We presume they're going to be spells because they cast twice. If it were, you know, a weapon or a minion or something, you know, it would probably use a different word than casts. So my guess is Demon Hunter is going to get like 2 to 3 new spells that are all called relics. Beyond that, I think they're probably going to be fairly high cost. If you doubled a 3 mana card, that would kind of make the location worth 3 mana on the first press and 3 mana on the second press. Probably wouldn't want to go much beyond that. If you doubled a 5 mana card, maybe you would expect this to be more expensive. So they probably can't be too expensive, or this would be too powerful, right? There's probably a reasonable mana cap here, because this becomes worth 6 mana if they're 3 mana relics, and if they're 4 mana relics, this card becomes worth 8 mana in essence. Not exactly, but you know, roughly 8 mana. So you probably are looking at like 2 to 4 mana cards max, I would think. That's kind of a clue on what kind of shape relics are. They're spells, they're probably in this mana range. As for what they will do, we have some clues there actually as well. Oh, and here's one other question that I've seen come up a lot. Ashara has ancient relics. Queen Ashara, the card Queen Ashara, they are not ancient relics. So the Queen Ashara relics will not be doubled off of this. This is an ancient relic is different than a relic, apparently. Because this is, as stated here, a new cycle coming in this expansion. Yeah, Cora gave us some insights here too on relics and what they're going to be about a little bit. Cora says, and Cora, by the way, was the set lead for this expansion. Demon Hunter was definitely the most difficult class to decide on a suspect/location pairing in the set. There aren't many Demon Hunters, if any, in the Shadowlands, so we ended up really leaning into the concept of outcasts who don't really belong, and that led us to brokers. Brokers are those like Artificer Zymox. If you haven't seen Zymox in the key art, I guess I'll pull up Zymox real quick. It seems pretty clear Zymox is going to be the legendary for Demon Hunter in this set. This guy right back here. One of these guys. This is Zymox. It's going to be the legendary for Demon Hunter, it looks like. Okay, Zymox is one of the brokers, as Cora mentions. Brokers are native to an unnamed realm of the Shadowlands, and they don't have an allegiance to any of the 4 covenants. However, Artificer Zymox is a broker that you fight in the Relic Vault in the Castle Nathria raid, and he's awesome. He's essentially there to rob Denathrius of his relics, and he uses a few of them throughout the fight. So we thought maybe he should use them in Hearthstone as well. What they do, though, I guess you'll have to wait and see. Well, we will, but we can go to the raid. This is a guide to the Artificer Zymox raid. There you see Zymox again. Pretty sick. I did not participate in this, but here are the 3 relics I found mention of in the Zymox raid. So I suspect we might see these 3 relics show up as the relics in Hearthstone, since Cora mentioned. So, for instance, there's Crystal of Phantasms. This is one of the relics mentioned, and if you look, it's really hard to see these icons. The WoW icons are always so tiny, but it's this kind of like greenish, bluish, tealish crystal. And we know from the Pheno card reveal that we talked about on July 13th, it looks to me like this is the Pheno card reveal, right? It looks to me like this icon is perhaps fairly similar to the Crystal of Phantasms. It doesn't look identical, but it looks pretty dang close. So my guess is that this is the Crystal of Phantasms relic that's going to be revealed on the 13th, and I'm sure there will be others revealed later. Zymox activates the crystal, releasing fleeting spirits that fixate players and attempt to possess them. So maybe this could be like maybe like a mind control type effect, like take control of a random enemy minion, kind of a shadow madness, or maybe it like targets a minion, and when that minion dies, you summon a copy of it, you know, like a spirit that fixates on an enemy minion, and then when they die, you kind of possess them, sort of like a Sylvanas style effect almost. Yeah, it's true that it doesn't feel very Demon Huntery, but like Cora said, you know, maybe it's kind of less Demon Huntery and more just like outcasty effects for sure. You think it'll just be little dudes with rush? Oh, like the spirits are just like three rush minions or something? Yeah. Might be the, you know, usually when we see like conversions of stuff in Hearthstone to World of Warcraft effects, it is very rarely 1-to-1. So it's certainly open to interpretation. You know, it could easily be like, oh, it summons 3 fleeting spirits. That wouldn't surprise me at all, right? So that's the Crystal of Phantasms. Next, we have the Root of Extinction. Zymox activates the root, planting 8 seeds of extinction. After 20 seconds, the seeds explode, inflicting 123,000 nature damage. Well, I hope in Hearthstone they don't deal 123,000 damage. That would be pretty powerful, I suspect. It's a 1/1 death rattle, deal 123 damage to the enemy. Okay, so this one's about planting 8 seeds of extinction. So, you know, you could say like, okay, maybe they summon a board full of 1/1s with death rattles that, you know, deal 1 damage to all enemies or something. Maybe sort of a boombot style effect. Now, that said, of course, if we think, as we talked about earlier, the spells are going to be something like a 2 to 4 mana range, we wouldn't expect a full board, right? We might expect maybe like a couple seeds could get summoned, and those seeds then do, you know, some kind of explosive style effect. Line Cracker Druid no longer a meme, yeah. Drop some dormant seeds on enemy board that explode when awoken. Yeah, that's a really reasonable idea. Yeah, using some kind of dormant wake up mechanic for sure. Shuffle seeds into the deck that explode when drawn. Okay, so less minion based, more deck based. That's a cool idea, yeah. Kind of a Garrote style effect, like shuffle some seeds in, shuffle 8 seeds into your deck, and then each one explodes for like 1 or 2 damage or something. Maybe 1 damage would have to be the case if there were 8 of them, right? But if there were fewer, perhaps you could scale it up. Oh, maybe the actual Zymox will play all 3 relics or add them to your hand. Oh, Cora did mention Zymox using the relics, so maybe they will exist both as collectible cards and as some sort of Zymox synergy as well. I think they will be collectible cards, by the way, because if Pheno is revealing one of them, I don't think they've ever given like tokens or non-collectible cards as creator reveals. So I think they will be distinct collectible cards, but I could definitely see, based on what Cora teased, Zymox connecting to it somehow, maybe like duplicating them or adding extra or using all 3 or something to that effect. Yeah. I think you might very well be right. Okay, so then finally, I guess we can move on to the Edge of Annihilation. Zymox activates the Edge of Annihilation, causing it to draw players in with increasing intensity until it erupts, inflicting 206,000 shadow damage. Okay, so again, typical Demon Hunter damage numbers. Zymox activates the Edge of Annihilation, causing it to draw players in. So what kind of effect could that be? Draw players in. Maybe it's like a time-based effect, like in 3 turns, deal 10 damage to the enemy or something, right? Like simulating the time it takes to draw them in via turns over time. Maybe it pulls enemy minions to your side of the board and then they explode or something. Summon a minion from each deck and deal damage to them. Okay, that's a cool idea. So like you summon something big and it doesn't die, but you summon something for your opponents and maybe it kills it and removes some resource for them. That's a neat idea. Summon a minion from each deck and deal 5 damage to it. Yeah. Still less damage than Il'gynoth OTK. 206,000 is less damage. Taunt is kind of like a draw a minion in. Okay, maybe your hero has taunt. And your hero has taunt and deals damage to attacking minions or whatever, right? Like you have 3 attack exposed and your hero has taunt. That would be cool. That's actually a really neat idea. True, Chaos. That's a good point. Yes, that's a great point. They are likely to benefit from being cast twice. So some of the ones we've mentioned probably aren't super effective being doubled, like giving your hero taunt. Maybe if it said like give your hero +3 attack until the start of your next turn and taunt, the +3 attack would still be useful to double for the defensive trades. But yeah, that's a really good insight. That's a good point. Most of these would need to be something that is useful to be doubled. That's the same argument against, like, you know, filling the board with seeds. I think we already made a compelling argument there, but you wouldn't need to summon 14 seeds or something, right? You would need to summon like three being doubled would still be a reasonable number, right? For both of these, perhaps. Yeah, I think a lot of the designs we tease, by the way, are pretty complex. You know, I see this all the time in custom cards. The instinct is to make really complex designs, and Hearthstone generally tends to move towards simpler designs. Some of you guys will submit cards with like 7 lines of text in custom cards, and it's like, that just doesn't happen in Hearthstone. Occasionally in duels we'll get to like 5 lines, but standard keeps it to 4 lines almost always. Work really hard to keep that simplicity. You know, we've got to make sure these designs are still pretty simple, not too confusing or complex. Yeah, I think these are probably going to be the 3 relics. If there are more, I couldn't really identify them. There's other abilities and stuff that Zymox uses, dimensional tears. You know, we might see some of these inspiring things as well. There's a glyph as well. We've seen some glyphs. Maybe we'll get another glyph here. The glyph of destruction. I looked at the other teased card reveals to see if I could find the root and the edge of annihilation. Is that what they're called? So this could be the root, perhaps, right here. It's got the same kind of swirly pattern, but it doesn't really look like a root. It's not gnarled and twisted, and it's just sort of a familiar shape to the root here, but I don't think that's it by any means. It's just the only one I could find that's even close. And then the edge of annihilation, I mean, like, maybe this is the back of an axe head, like the edge, but I don't think so. So we might see the other ones just, you know, sometimes these represent, oh, this kind of looks like the root. It's got an orb, kind of a pod wrapped up in some root type stuff. It's not 1-to-1 by any means, but it's not too far off. That might be the root, perhaps. And then I don't really see an axe for the edge of annihilation at all. So yeah, some of these might represent multiple cards, you know, and it might be tucked in behind this. This is one of 3 cards or something, and we see it. It didn't sound like Fino was going to be revealing all 3. It sounded like Fino had 1 card, so it may be a while before we see the rest of these relics. But hopefully these theories and ideas will tide you guys over, at least to have some teasers here. I find it a little strange to reveal the relic and not reveal the Relic Vault and not reveal the relics. I don't know if that was planned and like hoping to build some hype and anticipation. I think usually that just builds outrage. You know, most people aren't especially patient. It feels a little backwards to me. You know, maybe there's some logic behind it. Maybe it was an accident. We don't know. I'll wait till we see the relics to review the Relic Vault. But curious to hear everybody's thoughts and takes on what these might look like and how you might see those 3 relics or other ones I don't know about, or just maybe new ideas, how those might be interpreted to fit into the world of the Relic Vault. And boom, video done.